Hello and welcome to Mediumship Matters with me, Hannah McIntyre. And today I'm very excited to be joined by Lynn Gosney. Welcome, Lynn.
Thank you for having me, Hannah.
I'm really excited. So Lynn is the lady that I've been talking to you all about for the last 2 years, who let me come on her amazing course and completely changed my life, how I am, who I am, with some painful yet profound teaching. So you run a shamanic centre, don't you, Lynn? So tell us a little bit about what you do.
Oh, what do I do? Well, on our website, the first thing you see is our aim is to empower you. And that's what we like to do when people come here. If you remember going back to when you first started Pathways, I remember saying, and I say it to all of the groups, is that our aim, my aim, I can only speak for me, I work with Bruce, we work together on Pathways, but my aim is always to get people to be better than I am, to help them along where I've taken time to find these things out. I can help them straight away. And so that's really what our aim is here. We have a lot of fun. You've got to have fun. There's a serious side to us. When I first moved over here, we've been here 20 years now. I went from running my small centre in Gillingham to this, but I did say I wanted quality, not quantity. So we run on very small numbers. Like when we do drum birthing, we only have 3 people. When we Pathways, maximum is 10. We run on smaller numbers. Some workshops we can go up to 15, but ultimately we like to keep everything quite small and intimate so that we can get more teaching in, more sharing in. And it's always such a two-way thing because, we're learning all the time as well. So everyone has something to bring. Everyone's got a gift, everyone's got a craft, and everyone's got a gift to share. So, it's a two-way learning thing. It's an exchange, really. And it works very well.
It's amazing. And it's an amazing space that you're in, isn't it? It's just so beautiful. Big open skies. It's stunning.
Oh, I love the marshes. If I'm in the woods for too long or I'm in the towns I really don't like, shops I don't like, I feel very squashed because I like that big, wide, open landscape of marshlands. Interesting, years ago when I was in America, we had a woman in our group that was like really scared of the open space. You think about people getting claustrophobic, but I've never thought of people getting scared of being in a wide space. But give me a wide space any day.
Isn't that interesting? And so you've got this amazing centre with this land and this view, and it's so peaceful, and it's like going to a completely different place. That's the best way I can phrase it.
It is. It's odd, really, because it's not that far away. It's only, but it's because you come off of the main road and you go down 3/4 of a mile down a farm track where it's all flat either side, and it's like going to another world. And it's not a big place. I always say to people, don't come with that idea that we're huge, because we're not huge, but what we have works. Although my husband has said, please no more circles. He's so fed up going around in circles trying to cut my lawn.
He does keep the garden beautifully. I remember that very well from when I was there.
It was trashed a couple of weeks ago with the mud.
Oh God, yeah, I can imagine. So how did you start this way of life? Because I know it is a way of life for you and way of being. Why shamanism?
It was always there. It's strange because we have to put names to things, don't we? It's to give that umbrella of what we do, really. I never liked other children. I grew up with my friends that nobody else could see. I was more often than not, I was in the bushes. My mum couldn't find me, and it's because I'd be in the bushes. I spent most of my time in the bushes and very solitary as a child. I liked being on my own with my spirit friends, and I used to see the fae folk, and the fae folk are nothing like the fairy with the wings and the wand. They're nothing like that. They'll bite your ankles quickly and look at you. But it was like, that was where I was happy. That was where I was comfortable. As I got a bit older, we moved to Maidstone. I lived in Blackfen at the time, and moved to Maidstone, and I spent most of my time over at Moat Park, in that wide open space that Moat Park is, or down by the river, on my own, a lot of the time on my own, until you start getting told, you can't keep talking to these people that nobody else can see. So And it was interesting because I had this stick. I found this stick up in my park, and it was a little stick, and I pulled all the bark off it and shone it all up, and it stayed in my purse for years and years and years. But that was like a connection. I think it was like my route into that. I used to love the open fires because we lived on open fires, you know, and that fire, that openness, the smell of the wood smoke. So I think that's always been there. But then I had that gap from when I left school, done an apprenticeship in hairdressing, and met my first husband, and just sort of did these normal things really. But it was always there. If anything come on the TV or the radio, or I see signs for psychic fairs or something like that, it would pull me in, and it would always pull me in. So I mean, I started off really when I was still running Elm Tree Lodge Healing Centre in Gillingham, in the mediumship line. I was doing the mediumship really, doing rostrum work. Used to go down to the spiritualist church and everything. And it was interesting because I think that's when I first met the drum. I was at somewhere doing a workshop, and the drum came to me. And once the drum came to me, that completely opened up a whole new way of working. I found that I didn't have to sit for so long doing the mediumship side of it because I had a quicker connection with the spirits. So basically, that was what really was. So it's always been there. It's been inherent in me. Those fascinating things, and you know, I mean, I couldn't spell as a child. I mean, in those days, dyslexia wasn't. It was just the dunce. So I was the regular dunce that was stood in the corner with the hat on. The amount of times I got slapped over the knuckles with a ruler is unbelievable. But now even now I think, wow, did that really happen? And I remember skipping home at lunchtime one day from my infant school. So I was only in infant school, and I was just singing it at the top of my voice. Was INFINITY, INFINITY, and I was skipping it all by hand. I didn't have a clue what it meant. And it wasn't until I was a lot older that I realised I was spelling infinity.
Gosh.
Now I was in kids, you know, baby school really, who couldn't spell anything. You know, I mean, it's only been the last sort of 10 to 15 years that. I mean, even now, everybody has a right laugh at my spelling and my dyslexia. You know, I mean, we have many laughs over that. So, how did it really change for me? I mean, I think for me, I also had a shamanic death. I was very, very ill. I had a real run of operations, and from something that I sort of had put on the back burner, if you like, they never let you off the path. Once you're on it, they're not going to let you off it.
Yeah.
And I just had this realization one day that, you know, that I've got even more. I felt even more connected after this near, you know, this really, well, I thought I was going to park it. I thought my time was up, and so this shamanic death came, and then I found the drum, and then that for me then took me to this point. I was doing, you know, I want to be careful here because I know that you do the mediumship as well, and I know that's in Heartened. But I was doing a sort of a demonstration this particular day, and I looked at all the people there, and they were so in need of a message. And for me, I wanted to be able to help them and show them so that they had the same belief that I have, is that you can talk directly to spirit.
Oh, I agree. You don't have to be careful, Lynn. Completely agree.
You know, that you can talk to spirit yourself, but there's so many people out there, especially if we're such a, even now, this country, we're still so death orientated, we don't talk about it.
Sure.
And it's so important to know, to get to this point of understanding where you don't need that proof anymore. You just know.
Yeah,
so
I love
just
it.
that knowing, you know, and you know, everything has a place. And for me, you know, it was a real springboard for me into this way. And I love it. I love it because it's, as you know, Hannah, it's not for the faint-hearted.
Surely not.
You know, because we work, you know, the way I work, I can only speak to myself, but the way I work with reality, and I work with, you know, shit happens. You know, I have someone say to me, well, why me? And I say, well, why not you? You know, I mean, there's no good saying why me. You know, shit happens, and that's life. That's the journey.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing about shamanism. I think it keeps it, well, not for everyone, but it keeps it real. But I'm very, very aware over the years that I've seen, the more we get friendly with the internet, the more exposure there is out there, that people can make themselves a shaman overnight, you know. And that does worry me. I see some things out there that makes my hair curl, but they think they can go out and do these things, and you know. But there again, that's the same in all spirituality, isn't it? In all walks,
Sure.
you know. I remember being at a festival. We were sitting at the stand, and this opposite me was a crystal stall. Everyone that walked up to that crystal stall was told they needed a crystal. They didn't need anything. Truth it was, they wanted them to buy one.
It's the real, I mean, that's the reason why I started this podcast, was because both of the things you've mentioned, I wanted people to know they could do it for themselves, that they didn't really need me. And I wanted people to stop being missold to, because it really upsets me.
I knew you had those values, and that's, you know, I knew you had those values, Hannah.
Yeah. And it's really funny, because that's the thing, you've just touched on what that shamanic journey was like for me at yours, but doing that pathways course with you over the course of those many months, it was inescapably human. In all of my spiritual teaching that I had partaken in up until that point, it was leave Earth, float around in the ether. Isn't it pretty? Tinkly lights, love, light, la, la, la. And then you'd come back to Earth and be like, God, blimey neck. And so you just wanted to be off there all the time. And you held us here. We were having experiences here. We were facing ourselves here. And that's why I think it was so transformational, because you had to face yourself again and again and again. You weren't turning away and floating around with an archangel going, oh, this is jolly nice. You were facing you.
Not the unicorn at the gate, you know.
Yeah, you know, and so it was mind-blowing to me. I didn't really know what I'd signed up for, but I soon learnt.
I don't think people do, you know. We put on all our work, as you know, we put on it, it's not a holiday. You know, it's Dartmoor, when we've got the Dartmoor information, it says this is not a holiday, and your ability to pay doesn't ensure your position either. That's another one. But it is real, and you know, we very seldom finish with a full group, because some people are just not ready. And I look at it this way: it doesn't worry me, because it's less work for me than for us to do. So they want to run, you know. Don't bother us. It's less for us to do, you know. Just not ready. There's no problem. It's just not ready for it. But you know, I remember sitting there once, and we was working with egos, and this, I don't think it was in your group. One of the women turned, I said, "Well, I haven't got any ego." You know, I soon proved that wrong, honestly. You know, as soon as we started doing practical stuff, that went out the window. You know, but that's what I like. I don't flower things up, and if not everybody likes my teachings, not everybody likes me, that's fine. You know, go and find someone that does, but I don't stroke your ego. You know, it's one of those things that I don't change the way I am to suit and to keep people. I know my path, I know what I'm doing, and I'll only focus on that. So, you know, I've got no problem with twig healing, paper twig healing, anything like that, but I don't do it, go somewhere else, you know. This is what I do.
And I think you have to be like that, Lynn, to keep us on it. Those of us that can stay and can do the work, which, you know, it was touch and go for me in places. So I'm not judging anybody that backs out, because there were days when I had so much resistance in me. It was physical. I'm coming down with something. I cannot make the course. And if my friend Nina had not been driving me, there would have been weekends where I probably wouldn't have made it. So I'm lucky that I did. But you have to be tough as well, because I can remember someone in our group getting so angry with you. And I mean, I've never seen anyone just properly lose it like that in a spiritual situation. And they were swearing at you, and you just sat there and took it. Like, you're tough, lady. I'd have cried for a week.
I think when you're in this way of, you know, you've got to know that it's okay. Not everybody's going to like you. You know, you either I don't play it. You know, I'm not sort of playing up to sort of smooth someone down just that they'll stay. If they want to go, go.
I love it.
You know, but if you want to learn, stay. Yeah, I'm not an easy taskmaster. I know that.
Yeah, but it works. That's why it's so transformational, because if you'd given me an out, I'd have taken it. And I'm so damn glad you didn't.
I know. I don't remember the day we went all the way round to where you lived.
I wasn't going to mention that. I don't want to spoiler it for anyone that does the course. So I'm saying nothing, because I understand the value in that lesson.
Yeah.
And it hurts. You know, I was there with my big shades on with tears leaking out the side, and it hurts.
Oh,
And
yeah, I know.
but it changed everything. And that was the night I slept in the roundhouse. And that was the day that I woke up the next day and I had broken through something massive in my energy, my belief system, my understanding of myself. Everything was different from that. So I didn't particularly like you very much at that moment, but I'm so glad you did it. So tell us in basic terms, because we'll have listeners here that have no idea about what your way of life is. So can you just explain what makes your way of life the way it is?
I think it's being authentic and being myself 24/7. You know, I could be on the bus or in a shop or something. You know, I'm just me wherever I am. I don't try to cover up what I am. When I don't work now, but when I was still working, you know, someone said to me, "Oh, did you have a nice weekend? What did you do?" I said, "Well, we did a sweat lodge." And then they'll look at me like I'm crazy. And oh, what's that? What's that? And they want to know, so I tell them. So I don't tell them, because if they want to take the mickey, they can take the mickey. But I'll tell them. And by doing that, to be honest with you, I've had people come here and be part of the centre, because I think most people have got this curiosity. Most people want to understand a little bit more that there is something else to this life, this physical life. So yeah, what was the question again?
I don't even remember. I'm so big. Tell us, what's a sweat lodge? Tell people who have no idea. What is a sweat lodge?
That's that is really a big story about the sweat lodges. It's let's try and break it down. The sweat lodge, if you like, is symbolic of the gestating of the womb of the Mother Earth, or the mother. So the idea is that we go into that womb as seeds, as her seedlings, as her babies, if you like, and then we're reborn when we come out. It's like an upside down basket. We cover it up. Because I run a Celtic lodge, we have 4 doors. So we use 2 doors on each of the 8 Celtic festivals. So like we've just had our inbox. We use the first door was the east door, because that's the first of the east, and then we have the equinox will be on the east door. Then we go round to the south for the 2, and then you know, autumn equinox and Samhain, and then Yule all around that way. So it's the 8 festivals that we do. But it's a place where you go, and it's totally dark. The heat is built up gently. People say, "Oh, I couldn't do it. It's like a sauna." Well, no, it's nothing like a sauna. A sauna is like when you open the oven, it hits you. But in a lodge, the rocks are brought in between each round, and it gradually builds the heat up. It is hot. We do sweat. You can't see a hand in front of your face. Contrary to what people think, we do let you out. So people can leave. You know, and then if they want to come back in, they can come back in on the next round, not within the round that they've left, but in the next round. It's a very, very, very healing ceremony. It's a journey of yourself and into yourself, but it's also a collective holding space for everyone in there. And there's usually 13 in lodge, that's including May. But it's a full day where we prepare for that, and we focus our intention and our prayers into the rocks that are then placed into the sacred fire. Everything is done in ceremony. And I think that's what my life is. You know, we have this big thing, oh, I'm going to go and do a ceremony, but every day is a ceremony. Yeah. Every day, you know, I'll go into a quiet space. Maybe I'm just cleaning my teeth. That's the ceremony when I'm giving thanks to the water. So everything I do during the day, we have this thing about mindfulness here, you know, and like leave no trace. So that's very much part of my day. You know, I would tidy up after myself, and you know, you can make anything into a ceremony, anything, you know, just doing your ironing. And if you're doing something you really don't like, you do it with 100% and you love it, because otherwise it gets more difficult. Because the more you don't like something, the more you put, you know, you don't want to do it, the more resistance you put up. If you just say, well, I don't actually like doing this, but I'm going to do it with 100% love and enjoyment, and you do it and you get it over and done with quickly. So I suppose that is what my everyday life is. I'm surrounded with things, the birds. And I go for a walk along the track, and I'm very aware of what I see, the rabbits, the buzzards and the kestrel. The woodpeckers are back now. We're starting to see the woodpeckers again. So it's getting very much in tune with it's very much in tune with nature as well. And people are interested in the medicine wheel. Well, when I say to them, well, you are a medicine wheel, you do a medicine wheel every day, and they look at me, I say, well, there's dawn, there's midday, there's setting sun, and there's midnight. That's a wheel. And if we could all think in circles instead of straight lines, again, life would be a lot easier. So that is my life. I live on a wheel, if you like.
I love it. Yeah,
I
amazing.
live on a wheel.
I've got to remember I'm interviewing you and not just go off and with your teachings and then forget. So I know that music plays a massive part in you and what you do. So tell us about your music.
Well, the band Touch the Earth's been going for a long time. We're still going. We're a family band. Pete and Bruce, they're not blood, but they're family, they're chosen family. Lee and Jill, my oldest son and his wife. Already we've sold tickets for our trance dance in November. People love our trance dance. We do live shamanic trance dance. The music is very much woven into the land and the landscape. A lot of my songs that I've written are born here at Care Crane or on the 303 when I'm driving. I've got songs before in the bath. Nothing all spiritual. I could say, I got it on the lake on Titicaca, but I didn't. I got it in bath.
Yeah, perfect.
But the music reflects our way of life. You'll hear like Mother's lullabies about the land and the seas that sparkle. And she sings, and you can hear her song, and that's the earth, which is very much the lodge. The sweat lodge is that. And I think this is what it is. It's that my life, if you like, my whole thing revolves around this cycle of sweat lodges, music, inspiration. It flows. We have this saying that if you open yourself up to be a hollow bone and allow that inspiration to flow through, get into a place of trust. So I'm in that place of trust every day. So when something pops into my head, I'm there and I'm listening to spirits. I don't do with this closing down, because if you close down, it's like if I'm ringing my phone at home or something, I'm not going to answer it. How am I going to get the information? So it's an interesting concept, that one. But so I think that's who I am. That's what I am. That's my life. And the lodge and the music all go glove in hand.
Yeah,
our lodges are usually quite musical. We sing a lot in lodge.
Oh, amazing. I can imagine. And I'm going to have
you haven't done a lodge, have you?
I know. Oh, I know. I really want to. It's not for not wanting. It's just I've got to get in alignment with it. So what was I going to ask you? Oh, bugger it. I've forgotten. So you do loads of teaching. You live on the wheel every day. In the wheel, you are the wheel, however you want to phrase that. You've got all your singing. You help loads of people. You do drum birthing as well. Tell us about that.
Oh, drum birthing is wonderful. We have beautiful drums that we sell as well, but I don't like posting drums. So if people want to buy a drum, they have to either come here or go to a festival that I've got them at, because I don't like. I can't choose a drum for somebody else, because it's the drum that chooses them and their frequency. So they come here, and I've had people come from all over to come and buy drums. But birth your own drum, it's a full day's workshop. That is, we start at 8:45 and we don't have a finish time. We have 3 people. We usually have myself and Bruce and somebody to help us. So really it's 1-to-1. But the whole day is done in ceremony, and there is nothing like birthing your own drum and putting your own intention to that. But we don't give kits out. We actually, we have the whole hide, and people cut their hide out. They make the holes. They cut their lacing, and they put their drum together, and then they make a beater. And then we do a journey at the end of the day to meet their spirit of their drum. It's just a very beautiful day. I love birthing drums, and they're all different. Like all of us, we're all different.
Yeah,
we're all different personalities, and
I remember the one I did. It was an incredible experience. Really was mind-blowing.
Yeah. And you have that connection to it, don't you?
Yeah.
You're making a friend, you're making an ally. And you know, you'd love it, because I not long ago wrote a song about the whole thing about birthing the drum. It's on my heart beats with yours again, and we're hoping to get it out, and we're trying to get a couple of CDs out this year. So
amazing.
have a lot of our new material out. So it's a beautiful song, and it's when I do it, it's so much feeling with it. It's quite emotional, actually. It's an emotive song. It's emotional, but you know, it's yeah, I love it. I love drum birthing.
Yeah,
Always
it was
different.
a memory for a lifetime, certainly for me. Just magic all day. But then everything at your place it is like stepping into another land, another place.
It is.
Just
I mean, we're not perfect, Hannah. You know, we get things wrong, and we're not perfect here. But the thing is, I think, you know, we're honest, so we'll put our hands up. So if we have been wrong, we're quite happy to say so. You know, we've made drums that are maybe not quite right, you know, at times, but other than that, they're amazing.
Yeah, it's such a great experience. And so if you were going to give any advice, I think you've covered it really, but I'm going to ask you anyway. If you give any advice for somebody who maybe can't get to you at the moment, or is interested but unsure about taking their first steps, what would you recommend for just their first steps in opening up to this kind of energy?
I think go to a drum circle, or you know, come along, feel it, feel the land, feel the thing. I mean, it's like with the sweat lodges. I say to people, if there's lodges calling you, just come along and spend the day with us. Don't go in the lodge, but just see how it works and see how that makes you feel. You know, and I think it's like this. I think if you feel really drawn to something, doesn't matter how far away you are, you will get there. You will find that ability to get there. Things will open up, and you know, spirit doors will open up for you, and you'll get to that place where you're trying to go. I would just err on the side of caution. I spoke about it a little bit earlier, that in this new age stuff, new like high tech stuff, people are coming out. They're calling themselves shamans. Steer very clear of anyone that puts that title on themselves, because they can make that up now.
Yeah.
Go by you know, what other people say, word of mouth, and go what on other people say. If you want to try a sweat lodge, go on a recommendation, someone that's actually experienced it with someone. There's other people doing lodges out there. I'm not the only one doing lodges, but there's also some out there who don't know what they're doing. It's the same with the shamanic teaching, you know. And I always be very dubious about someone that's offering a candy shop.
Yes.
So, you know what I mean? Well,
yes.
They're doing this. They've got about 20 things they're offering you. Why are they offering you 20 things? You know, go where their strength is. But I think so. My recommendation would be go on word of mouth recommendation on someone that you trust.
And feel into it. I think
absolutely, and trust your gut.
Yeah.
And even if you get through the gate, say you decided to come here and you get through the gate and you think, oh, no, you know, and it doesn't feel right, then trust that and go.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there's also that aspect of that if you've got this far, then, you know, sometimes that doorway, as you know, is meant to go through it and not run from it.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's not what can I say here? It's not candy floss here. It's real. That we've got an incredible group of tight bonds here with people that have really helped hold this space and love this. But tonight we've got women's group on. Sharon runs women's group now because Joanne's moved down to Wiltshire. Darren's out there in the roundhouse running the men's group. We've got a really good core group of people here that help. Bruce is here. You know, Bruce and I do the teachings together. He does his workshops and does his mantra workshops, and we do things together. So yeah, that you know, you never know anything, you know. And don't forget, teachers can open doors, but it's up to you if you want to go through them or not.
Absolutely.
Be bold, be brave, you know.
I think one of the greatest things for me, for the teaching that I offer now, is you treated us like grown-ups. Now that sounds like a weird thing, but I can remember doing a meditation with you and you saying, bring yourself back. You'll hear the beat. When it's time to come back, because you're in charge, you're in control. And up until that point, I'd had all this kind of, and you've got to acclimatize yourself back, and I will nurse you back into your body slowly, slowly. And it was mind-blowing to me, because it actually worked better, because I went, I'm in control. This isn't a ridiculous, disempowering relationship with spirit. It's I'm in here too. I'm part of it. So there's so many lessons. So incredible.
I'm really glad that you remembered that one, because that really is important, that we are always in control. So, when I hear people say, oh, I'm getting worn out, and I say, well, you've just got to tell them.
Yeah.
I need to switch off tonight, spirit. It's simple as that. Like, we're having a conversation. You have a conversation with spirit. But I think ultimately, it's, my words have always been like truth, integrity, intention, intent. And I think that's the words. We honor every. People say to me, "Oh, who do you worship?" And I say, "Well, I don't worship anything. I honor everything."
Yeah.
I think that's that. If you can look at life like that and have respect like that, then have respect for everything and honor everything. It's not worship.
So one last question, that's the one I'd forgotten. Can you just explain to the listeners what the difference is with being a Celtic lodge, did you say?
Yeah, well, a Celtic lodge is more, the way I run it, it's like we're making our own traditions as well. But people usually think I'm Native American, because I play Native American style flutes and we have big drums on stage. They think I'm Native American. I'm not. I was born and bred in Blackfin, okay, Kent. I'm as of this land as I could possibly get. So the way I run the lodge is because I like working with those 8 Celtic festivals. And from that, we're not Native Americans, so I'm not a native wannabe.
No.
Put it this way. I had somebody rock up to one of my lodges once and he came up to me and said, "Oh, I've got a pipe." I said, "Oh, it's nice for you." So he said, "Well, I'll do it in lodge." And I said, "Well, we don't do pipe in lodge." And he said, "Oh, it'd be very nice." So then he said something else, and I said, "No," I said, "we don't do the juniper." And he looked at me and he said, "Oh, okay, I'm hearing you." He said, "I don't mean a juniper, I've got a pipe." I said, "The juniper is a pipe."
Yeah.
So he didn't even know what he had.
And I have to say, that was one of the things. I had lots of stereotypical ideas about shamanism when I came to yours, because we do. And then I got there and it was so, I loved the fact that you were connecting to the land on which we stood. Yeah. We weren't traveling off pretending we were halfway around the world in another time, in another place. We were here now on the land we stood on. And it was so powerful.
Yeah. And we have our own ceremonies, we have our own rituals. You can put your own together, There's nothing better. I mean, we had a beautiful baby when one of our communities, she had a baby, and we had the most beautiful naming and welcoming ceremony. And we're not making her anything, because people often say to me, "Would you like to see shamanism become a religion?" I say, "Oh, no, absolutely not."
No.
Shamanism is not ever to be a religion. It's an individual path. It's I wouldn't want it to be a religion. No. And you're only answerable to spirit and yourself in this. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a lovely way of being. It's but it is real. I mean, we were out there. I mean, that's what I love it. One day I can be on the stage dressed to the nines, doing my band stuff. The next day, I went out there last week in the freezing cold in a sarong to do a sweat lodge, where the mud was like sinking. You were sinking in the mud. And it was really cold until we got into the lodge, and you think, "What am I doing this?" But it's such an amazing experience to be in the sweat lodge. It's and again, that connects us to the land, and this land, our seasons. I love all of the seasons. I embrace all those seasons, and I hear people coming up through, when the winter's coming. "Oh, I'm not looking forward to the winter," and they make everything very difficult for themselves. Whereas if you embrace it and you go with it and celebrate it, it's so much better, and it's beautiful, and it's a part of our life, it's a part of our heritage. I think the Native American craze, if you like, is because it's not that far away. It's more recent.
Mm-hmm. We
have beautiful past, everywhere there's a church used to be a pagan site.
Yeah.
When you think about that, where we used to honour the sun when it rose and honour the sun when it went down, and the moon and the equinoxes. And Beltane would have been celebrated when the first hawthorn flowered, not on a date on a calendar.
Yeah.
It would have been when the first hawthorn, because they weren't ruled by calendars like we are and times like we are. And also with a lot of our Celtic past is that there was no differentiation between women and men. It was, if you were part of a tribe, it was whatever your strength was. So if you were good at hunting, you were a hunter. It didn't matter whether you were male or female. If hunting was your craft and your gift, you would hunt.
Yeah.
If you were good at cooking, then you would cook, whether you were male or female. So, you know, and it brings us into that equal, where we were equal, but you work with the person's strengths.
God, so I mean, that's so much of a better way,
isn't it?
It just makes
really
so much
is.
more sense.
Yeah.
What have we done?
Yeah, what have we done? You look out there and you think, what have we done?
Yeah,
but,
wow.
No, it's lovely. But you know, you come over here. It's muddy. We haven't got hot running water. You know, that's fine. We've got some really nice bed and breakfasts around, so people stay in the old bed and breakfast if they don't want to rough it a bit. You know.
Oh, I recommend roughing it, guys. The best night I ever had.
It's great.
Yeah, you can't. It will change you. Don't worry about the hot water. Just be smelly. That's what I did.
But it's smelling of wood, you know, wood smoke, and there's nothing better, is there? Just
no.
Get there and go.
Oh, I love it. Smoke. Yeah.
Oh yeah, wood smoke. You get clothes out and go.
I know. I can smell the smell of being in my mind. I can smell the smell of being at yours. It's just amazing. It really is.
So we've got really lovely neighbours next door as well. They moved in 4 years ago.
Oh.
And they're lovely, and they're going to put their alpacas down in the field next to our field, and they're going to put buckets out so that we can feed them when I've got an event on.
Oh, what fun!
How cool is that?
That is very cool. Yeah. Very, very cool. I love it. Yeah. So I will put links to your website in the show notes so that anybody who wants to have a little look and see where you are and what you're up to can get involved, because I highly recommend it, people. It will change your life. Yeah. Thank you, Lynn, for taking the time.
So many people say that to us, you know, that it's changed their life. But I remember saying to you put jack shit in, you get jack shit out. And it's only because it's the work that you do, Hannah. It's the work you've done for yourself, on yourself, that's got you where you have. And other people that have been, you know, great successes, is because, you know, we'll give it there, we'll put it out, and it's quite simple. It's up to you. You do the work. So you've done the work, girl.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I still think that you and Bruce gave me such a wonderful gift that still gives to me now. Still your teachings, still now. So thank you. And yeah, there we go, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed hearing from Lynn. I'm absolutely over the moon that she agreed to come on and share her knowledge and wisdom with us all. She's pretty amazing, isn't she? And
you can get me on Facebook as well, don't forget.
Oh yeah, of course. Yep, I'll put a link to that on the show notes too. So I'll hit them up with everything, and they'll all be all over you.
Yeah, I'd love to come and see you sometime.
Oh, I'd love that. I would love that.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Pathways Refresher, don't forget.
Yeah. I saw it. I can't remember what I'm doing, but I need you to do your 2024 dates so that I can block stuff out, because I keep looking and then going, oh man. So yeah.
Well, thank you for having me on the show, and I'll be always happy to answer any questions anyone has.
Amazing. Thank you.
If I can't answer them, I'll say so.
Yeah, that's the key.